Hello everyone, this is Miss Carrie at the Waukee Public Library. For today's Team Maker Monday, we are going to sew our own little Loch Ness Monsters out of an old pair of gloves. So you'll need a pair of gloves, or at least one old glove, some string, a needle, and a pair of scissors. The first thing we're going to do, I'm not using matching colors because I want you to be able to see hopefully what I'm doing. But you can use matching or not matching, however you want your monster to be. So first thing you're going to do is cut a fairly long piece of thread, but not so long that it's going to tangle all up on you. And then we're going to tie a knot a couple of times in one end. And if you just go real slow and kind of scooch your fingers together, you can make the knot go on top of where it was the first time. All right, and then on your other end, and this is going to be on the inside, so we don't really care about the little extra tail string on the end. Then thread your needle. All right, here we go. You're going to pull the unknotted part about halfway down the length there. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sew a line, just kind of a curved arch from, we're going to leave the thumb alone, and we're just going to kind of sew down under the fingers across there. Like I said, take that back. First, we're going to turn the glove inside out. That's how we know the string's going to be on the inside. Poke out all the little fingers. Okay, now we're gonna sew that little arch and ignore the thumb. And we don't have to worry about all these other little strings either, they're going back inside. So I'm just going to poke from one side, pull it up through till your little knot is there. Okay, and then we're just going to keep going up and down and pulling all the way through. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it's gonna be great. Your stitches can be a little bit wide or as tiny and close together if you want it to be nice and tight. Either way, the glove's kind of stretchy, so it doesn't matter too much. As long as you don't just do one big stitch across. It's gonna hold, this is what's going to hold the stuffing inside your Loch Ness Monster. Take the needle off of this end so don't poke yourself. And you're gonna move it down so that little knot's gonna be right at the edge of the fabric of the glove. Maybe 3 knots in a row, since the holes in the glove are pretty big. All right, and we'll cut it off. And you can kind of see where our line is, and we are going to cut right above that line, or below, depending which way you're looking, and you're gonna chop the fingers off the glove. Leave the thumb. You can make sure they're all cut apart. We're going to use them later for legs, tails, and heads. Okay, now we're going to turn this right side out again. A little easier when there's only the thumb to poke out. Okay, and then I forgot at the beginning, you're going to need some kind of stuffing. If you don't have This kind of stuffed animal stuffing, you can use old socks, other old gloves, old t-shirts, scraps cut up, anything soft and fluffy to put inside. So we're gonna go ahead and put a little bit up in the thumb. That's gonna become our monster's head. And just smoosh it all in there. Smoosh in for the body. Till it's as fluffy as you'd like it to be. And then we're going to roll this cuff of the glove, tuck it in kind of like that. And we're going to sew it closed. I've already tied the knot in one end of my string again, so you can do the same. And then we are going to, we're gonna start under one end. So I'm gonna just start from the inside, come up in the corner so that the tail is down inside where we won't see it. And then we are going to, I'll try to stretch it out so you can see a little bit what I'm doing, but you'll hold it pinched together and do this. You're gonna come down like right on the edge on one side. See, the noodle comes out, and then you're gonna go just a little ways in and come out on the other side and pull tight. Very well. Try again here. If you go just a little below the edge, it will hide your string a little better. It might take some practice. You can always cut the string out and try again if you don't like the way your stitches look. Take the needle off again so you don't poke yourself. We're going to do that, scoot it up to the edge again. Oop. Maybe just two. All right, cut that off. If you wanted to, you could tie it deeper down in the crack, then it'll be less visible. But if your monster sits up at the end, no one will see it anyway. All right, and you can kind of mush the insides till it's the shape you want. And then you can add, I'm gonna show you how to add the head, but you can really use any of these extra fingers, or if you did have more than one glove, you could make the legs longer, you could make spikes on the back. However you want your creature to have appendages, you can, you can build it and design it however you would like. On our sample one, the tail does not have any stuffing in it, so it's a little flatter. So you might decide some arms or legs or parts you don't want stuffing. But the head we did put stuffing, so I'm going to show you that way, and just know that's the difference. All right, so let's take one of these fingers for the stuffing, or for the head. And you're going to turn it back right side out. Put a little stuffing in. And then just how we did the cuff, we're going to fold that scraggly part under. Kind of add it on top of the neck there a little bit. Gotta get my needle ready this time. Tie your knot again. You're going to be really good at tying knots here. A little bit off on that one. Go slow. There we go. This time I'm going to cut the tail because I might be closer to the edge. There it goes. All right. Now this can get a little slippery. You might want to pop off. If you have any extra little pins at home, you can kind of pin them in place, but then you have to be careful not to poke your fingers since it's such a small project. So we're going to try to work up underneath where we are starting and poke out the bottom. Don't worry too much about the strings. They just pull out. You can try to poke your little knot up in there. And kind of like before, if you go a little bit below the edge, you won't see your stitches as much. But it is tricky to get your needle to go that way. So you can also just Frankenstein it and be able to see the stitches, and that might look kind of cool too. I'll show you a little Frankenstein. Really visible ones here. And they don't even get that visible because, like I said, the glove is stretchy, so it all smooshes together. So floppy, I'm sorry. Cut them off there. All right, and then to make eyes, all I did was tie our knot and pull it down several times in the same place. So I can show you that real quick. This time we want the knot to be big and visible, so we're just gonna tie it like 4 or 5 times in a row. Just keep pushing it down there. Don't want the tail for the eyes. Okay, let's say this is where the eye is gonna go. And if you want, you can do a few stitches around your knot just to make it even bigger. And when you feel like it's big enough, you're just going to tie one more knot, 1 or 2 on top. Okay. Quite tie that together properly, but again, if you mess it up, you can always just cut it off and sew and try again until you have your completed creature. Happy sewing!